The Song of the Rain, a legend from the Coast Salish people. Long ago, when the earth was still young, the world grew dry because the rain had forgotten its way home. The people cried out, trees withered, and rivers turned to dust. In the silence of the forest, only the little frog sang each night. The animals mocked. "Why sing, little one? There is no water to answer you." But Frog did not reply. She sang louder, a song of calling the rain. Then, one night, the sky cracked open. Rain poured down, soft at first, then strong, as if answering a forgotten prayer. The earth drank deeply. Life returned, and the forest fell silent before Frog. From that day on, the people called her Quet-Quet, the one who calls the water. They carved her image near rivers, stitched her into sacred robes, and listened for her voice when the seasons turned, as a reminder that patience is its own power, and a true prayer always finds the sky. Psalm 104, verses 10 through 15. He makes springs pour water into the ravines. It flows between the mountains. They give water to all the beasts of the field. The wild donkeys quench their thirst. The birds of the sky nest by the waters. They sing among the branches. He waters the mountains from his upper chambers. The land is satisfied by the fruit of his work.
I selected that Coast Salish reading of Frog months ago, before what has been transpiring in Portland, where the symbol of frog has become quite a symbol of resistance, but it seems like a timely story now, doesn't it? Will you pray with me? Come, Spirit, come. Fall fresh upon us as we hear these ancient stories and listen for their call in our times. And may the words of my mouth and the meditation of all of our hearts be acceptable to you, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Well, dear ones, today we continue on with our season of creation by again turning to our natural world for our spiritual lessons and meditations. And today we turn to water for that lesson. And I want to lift up and thank Bob Flack and Lynn Werner for this beautiful display behind us and their amazing efforts to bring life and beauty to our sanctuary. Now, we know that like air, the water around us sustains life as we know it. The same water that God created and then reflected and recognized that it was good. We all know that water is sacred and holy. And we know that the Bible is full of language about water, beginning with the creation of the sea in Genesis and ending with the water of life in the book of Revelations, and hitting on that beautiful psalm that we heard Anna read in between. We know that water has long been central to the Christian tradition, from baptism to the washing of feet to the work and lifeblood of Jesus' disciples. And we know that as Christians, we are called to care for and protect the earth. An earth that is 71% water. And we are called to care for all that swims, crawls, and makes its home beneath the surface. Water is sacred, This we know. And we know that water is synonymous with life. Without water, we could not survive more than a few days because we are, like most life on this planet, mostly made up of water. Life began in the element of water, in the primordial seas on this planet 3.8 billion years ago. Water is the custodian of life. But what can water teach us? Well, again, this week, I'm going to draw upon some recent hiking exploration. This one in the Antelope Canyon on the Navajo Reservation in northeastern Arizona. Now, those canyons, we don't have any. I don't have any connection to it. Oh, you got to see these images. Hold on. Let's see if we can get them for you. We have technical difficulties. You don't want to see this one. This is not part of the sermon. And Jasper, if we can't get it up, then I'll just go ahead and give the sermon without the images. And we'll send out the PowerPoint. Have any of you been to Antelope Canyon? I know the Werners have. Yeah. Oh, there it goes. Okay, stop right there. There you go. Perfect. Okay. Now, these canyons have been a bucket list destination for Jasper and I for a long time, and we had the opportunity to hike through them last spring. Now, when you approach these canyons, they are not that impressive. But once you hike down into those canyons and you see the light filtering through those narrow openings of the canyon walls, beauty unfolds. They are awe-inspiring. Now, the canyons were formed over millions of years by flash floods that carved through that Navajo sandstone. Water from creeks, now part of the Colorado River, created turbulent floods that eroded the rock, while hot, dry periods with sandstorms polished the walls. Now, the slot canyons are an evolving geological formation with their appearance constantly changing due to this ongoing process of nature. The canyons are on Navajo land, and the name for the Upper Antelope Canyon, where all the images you're going to see today are from, means the place where water runs through the rock. And the canyon holds immense cultural and spiritual significance for the Navajo people, who view them as sacred sites where physical and spiritual worlds intersect, as if they are creating a place where nature and the spirit world combine. The Navajo people also believe that these canyons are a place of great spiritual power, and that it is necessary to approach them with respect and humility. And I think that Jasper and I would both say that our time in those canyons felt both holy and sacred in the deepest and most meaningful ways. So the spiritual lessons from the water that carve those sacred canyons are plentiful. So what can water teach us from within the walls of this holy place, especially at this time? Now, geologically speaking, a slot canyon begins as a small crack or fracture in the Earth's surface that over thousands of years undergoes significant erosions, primarily from water that acts as the primary sculpture of the canyons. But the water that shapes the canyons created their designs slowly over time through persistent and relentless action. The main method that water sculpted the canyons came in the form of rain that flowed down through those cracks and fissures in the rocks and over time deepened those initial cracks, slowly carving the narrow and winding passages of the slot canyons. And when rainfall was sparse, periodic flash floods where the water would quickly accumulate would bring an immense volume of water into the canyon system within minutes, eroding the rock and further sculpting the slot canyon. Water. Water shaped the canyons over time through persistent, relentless action. The water that sculpted these amazing canyons can teach us that being consistent and persevering is critical, not only to overcoming the rocks in our path, but also to create beauty around us. And also sometimes it takes dramatic force to impact and change the barriers that are in front of us. It's a combination of both persistent and relentless action and dramatic force that sculpts beauty and that can change the world, to live out our call to serve the least, the last, and the lost. Persistent and relentless action and dramatic force. That's how change happens. Now, here's another way that water can teach us how to walk into this world right now. Individual drops of water did not create these canyons. Individual drops of water would have been insignificant in creating the beauty and magnificence of these canyons. These canyons were created by vast quantities of water flowing as rain, seeping into cracks and carving passages, or as flash floods, ruthlessly and rapidly eroding the rock to carve it into the sculptures you see behind me. Individual drops of water would have been insignificant in creating these canyons. But together, all of those raindrops created something majestic, something awe-inspiring, something sacred. Water teaches us that we are so much stronger and effective in community. We are so much greater when two or more are gathered. When we come together, we can achieve results far beyond what any single person could accomplish alone. We can pool our diverse knowledge, skills, and perspectives, leading us to more innovative solutions, way better than any one person could come up with. And a community has a louder and more influential voice than any individual speaking alone. When we speak and act together, we can much more effectively advocate for change and hold decision makers accountable and pursue solutions. The African proverb, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, perfectly captures this idea. The power of community doesn't come from speed, but from its endurance and ability to create lasting change. Just like creating a slot canyon in one raindrop versus a deluge of rain. Creating change in our world is often way more effective if done as a collective effort than an individual one. So water has much to teach us, especially in these times when persistent, relentless action combined with some occasional dramatic force done in community, those kind of actions are so desperately needed as we speak up, as we advocate, and as we protect the least, the lost, and the last in our country. So, may we turn to water and hold those powerful images of these canyons to inspire us to go forth and do that sacred work in community of bringing about God's kingdom here and now. So I want to close today by again turning to the poet John O'Donohue for his wisdom, and this time for his poem In Praise of Water. Hear these words. Let us bless the grace of water, the imagination of the primeval ocean, where the first forms of life stirred and emerged to dress the vacant earth with warm quilts of color. Let us bless the humility of water, always willing to take the shape of whatever otherness holds it. The buoyancy of water, stronger than the deadening, downward drag of gravity, flowing forth without thought of what awaits it. The refreshment of water, dissolving the crystals of thirst. Water, voice of grief, cry of love in the flowing tear. Water, vehicle and idiom of all the inner voyaging that keeps us alive. Blessed be water, our first mother. Thanks be to water, thanks be to God. Amen.